Oh hey, this is Matt Fecher from AudioKit. Let's get started.
What is up, App Music Nation? Today I have an interview with the creator of Elastic Drums and Elastic Effects. Oliver is based in Berlin, Germany, and he's been creating great apps for years. He's a great developer, and he's got a great story. Tell us about your new app, Elastic Effects. Because I bought a copy, and it's super fun. It's like the app I would have loved to have when I was a teenager. You can just add all this kind of distortion and effects. It seems like the ultimate live performance app for effects.
That's nice to hear, yeah. I want this to be really an app that you use for live purposes. So I see it more as a unique instrument. To have really fun with it, you really need the whole screen. So I see it as more as a performance tool. And also to use outside the iOS environment with guitar or with synths.
What's next for you? Do you have any passion projects or app ideas you want to share with people?
I would really like to see Elastic Drums as an VST.
I was going to ask you about that because I think it's really intuitive. I mean, I like it better than most VST drum apps. So I would definitely use it on the desktop.
Cool. That's great. One buyer. Okay. That's a bad thing with VSTs. You need a whole different marketing platform. That's a good thing with iOS or with Apple. That it's all there. So you just make the app, and the rest is done by Apple, by iTunes. They get 30%, but it's still like a really good platform to sell stuff as a lonely guy like me, or lonely 1.5 guys.
Yeah, and for the people watching, the App Store is kind of a turnkey system. You don't have to have a payment processor or worry about all of that. They handle all of that and all the credit card processing. So you basically put it online and you can start selling things right away. Versus if you're selling a VST, you can go through resellers, or you can set up your own payment processor, but then you have to deal with that aspect of the business and handling money.
And there's always the problem that you cracks. Somebody is cracking your software and then then it spreads. I know how hard it is to be a software developer, and now I buy all my stuff.
I would encourage everyone to actually pay for software, and hopefully through these interviews people get to meet the real people writing the software. And a lot of people don't realize they're just normal people trying to make a living. And if you steal software, you're stealing food out of their mouth, and the ability for them to create new software and updates for you.
Updates is a good keyword also, because Apple should allow updates, or that paid updates, because sometimes people are using your software already since 3 years, and you make update after update, and then when there's a small in-app purchase, then they are crying, how can you do this? I'm an old customer. And but on desktop, it's just the usual case that you pay for big updates. Sometimes I'm really happy to make build in new features, but sometimes, or it's very often, a lot of work. And
that's a really good point. And so iOS is really a great deal for most people, because the consumers, because they get all these amazing free updates. So are you a full-time app music developer now?
I'm in the happy situation that I can more or less live, not really good, but I can survive from it. And I also did some small jobs on top of it. So I finished one app for Mouse on Mars once, and now I'm helping I would say like 80% of my time I'm working on my own apps, which is really dream come true, because you can work on your baby, but there's nothing much better.
That's incredible. And so do you have some tips for independent developers to market your app? Because you've done a really good job of getting the word out there about Elastic Drums and Elastic Effects.
Yeah, exactly. I also want to talk about that because I would say programming is 50% to make an app successful, and then the other 50% is marketing. So I spend at least 30% of my time in marketing or doing videos, thinking what could be good, like try to use all sorts of channels. So when I had the concept for Elastic Drums, I was like really thinking a lot. So how could I spread the word? Which people do I know? Which musicians? Which one could I ask to? I don't know, just to try it. Usual channels should I use, or which rather unusual channels would also be an idea. So yeah, you have to be really creative with these things, but that's also part of the fun, because you would go mad if you just program all day long. So it's refreshing also to do something else. And I'm still a really shit video with creating videos, but I'm getting better and better. And I also like this record stuff and explain stuff. It's also part of the fun.
And you're really good at getting press. So I've got this copy of Computer and Music magazine, and I think you've got Elastic effects in here. Is that my app below? I didn't even notice it before now. That's weird.
Sure.
But so do you have any tips for developers looking to get press? Because that's a common question. People want to know how they can get the media to write about their app.
Then it should look good, and then maybe also have some teaser videos that are really well made. Either do it your own, or ask people, or even pay for some video. It can pay out in the end. And so, but then use all channels. Like I just was looking where are other apps, like or where do you see reviews of other apps, and then just try to get in contact. Look where's an email address. Like most of the times nothing is happening, but sometimes something is happening. And so it's really a lot of as an indie developer, people like journalists get bombed with people asking them for a review or stuff like that. But you always have to try out, never give up. So when you write an email to 10 people, maybe one is reacting, but then you've won.
If anyone could use your app, who would be some of your dream artists that would use your app?
I like a lot of bands from Berlin, because I don't know, maybe it's because I also live in this town. I like Mode Selector, for example, or doesn't have to be like super famous.
Yeah, that's really good advice. And I would encourage people, to start local and support their local artists in your town or country or city. A lot of them are excited to work with developers and work with music tools, whereas an international artist may not have that time.
Yeah, exactly. It's true.
So it seems like there's this epicenter of all these amazing and talented people working together in Berlin. Many people believe Berlin to be a global hub for music creation. What's it like living in Berlin and making music apps among so many other developers?
Well, I would say like the indie developers, they help each other. And so we also made this meetups where the idea was to spread knowledge, and people could show their app, ask for feedback, like is the user interface, is it clear, does it make sense, and stuff like that. So then on the other hand, it's like maybe 5 independent developer making their living with just doing this sort of stuff. Like then there's Ableton, SoundCloud, of course, and Native Instruments. They also sometimes came on our meetups, and I think there are also some C++ meetups sometimes at Native Instruments. So there is some feedback, or you see that there are other people working on this topic, but yeah, in day life you don't feel it too much. Yeah, but chances are higher that you can maybe get a DSP or a job as a DSP developer in Berlin than in other cities, of course.
Well, it's interesting because, a lot of people I talk to, they're the only music app developer in their city, and then sometimes their state or country. They talk about moving to like San Francisco or Berlin, where there's this epicenter of everyone working together.
Well, there's always people needed to who do something. So as I said, we made these meetups and tried to bring people together. So we made some Pure Data libpd meetup and another Choose meetup, and so people working at home, geeks. Came to our meetup and were really happy. But then I don't know, we were kind of lame and did not continue with these meetups. So there's nothing much where you can where you meet people. There are certain events like Super Booth I was talking before. So there's a high chance that you see people from, like the people from Ableton, or these two guys from Native Instruments. So it's a rather loose, connection, I would say. But still potential. So we could do better, I guess.
Well, it seems like, at least we have that kind of infrastructure and, you see it all around you. Whereas, a lot of people, they don't even know where to begin or know anyone in the music software industry. And at least, someone in your area could reach out to someone, and I'm sure they're willing to help or get together. People are nice enough, right?
Sure. Yeah.
What drew you into making music apps for iOS?
I got into electronic music. I was thrilled by drum and bass in the late 90s. So I was always a programmer. After I finished university, I started as a Flash developer. These Asian things. And I also earned some money with doing sound design, also for websites. And then I got a hint from a friend that there is a new library called libpd, which allows to use pure data patches in mobile applications, and that's where it all started. Then I want to start with a fun project, and it was already Elastic Drums.
Yeah, Elastic Drums is a fun project. And did you have to learn other programming languages like Swift or Objective-C in addition to Pure Data?
Yeah, I pretty much learned properly programming Objective-C with Elastic Drums. So a lot of old code shit in there, which could be improved. But iOS gave me the opportunity to bring both my interests together.
Awesome.
I also liked Reactor and in the old days, and so I started with also trying to make the perfect drum machine with Reactor, but in the end I have to admit I'm not the best Reactor programmer, and I'm not the best Pure Data programmer. But I started with some Pure Data patches I found online. It's called Do It Yourself. And it was from a guy called Matt Fecher, I did not know so far. So I started with these patches with the first prototypes, and then I tried to contact him via email. He did all the hard work on the audio stuff.
And so, I mean, that's really good advice for people, is to start with something like Reactor or something visual where they can mock up the sound and signal chain they want before they have to dive in and start coding.
Yeah, exactly. Pure Data is really good for prototyping. So Matt has, so the other guy has his like more or less his desktop version of Elastic Drums. Pure Data or like Reactor, they're much quicker to do prototyping and get the sound you want.
Cool. Well, that's good to know. We talked about, different audio engines, and you use Pure Data, which is a great way for new developers to get started. Are you thinking about moving on to, do more native like C++ or AudioKit down the road for future apps?
And so, that's what I have to decide this year. I'm a bit bored of Objective-C, so I want to learn something new, but I don't know where it goes yet.
Yeah, for those watching, I mean, there's nothing more powerful than C and C++ if you want to be an audio developer. So, I mean, that will take you miles. I mean, you could do anything. You could write for Windows, low-level iOS apps. So if you're willing to take that plunge, there's nothing more powerful than learning C or C++. But it is a learning curve.
It's hard, yeah. I'm also not sure because I thought, I wanted to do this music app to finally make music again, and now I'm into C and C++. That's not
that's not what you signed up
what
for.
I wanted.
That's super funny and cool. And so, what's your view on documentation, written versus YouTube? What do you think is best?
Yeah, I think it's really important for professional apps to have a proper manual that you can really, because some things, or in the best case, the app is like self-explanatory, but when you have certain levels of abstraction and so many possibilities, where should you know that this button you can just long tap or double tap, and it has there's another more hidden function you only can find out with the manual or with making videos like I do a lot and I also enjoy. I think this is all. I like more to watch videos than like reading a review, or very often. And so, but you have to serve both things, like something with text, like a PDF that opens in the app or on a web server, but you should also do some videos just for teasing, but also maybe for explanation reasons.
Yeah, that's really good advice. And so, what kind of advice do you have for people who want to make their first music app?
Okay.
Big question, right?
Just get started. If you, so I guess everybody wants to be the app successful. So one thing is you want to make an app that's your wet dreams fulfillment, and so this is one reason to start, or it should be always this reason to start, but then there's another reason or other things to think about, is like, is this app outstanding? Will people buy it? Will they understand it? So you should always just keep your eyes open. What is existing? What could I make better than other apps? Where could I succeed other apps? And try to not lose fun and interest in the product, because if it's successful, then it's a development process that goes on for years more or less, because you always have to do updates because of new developments and new technologies coming in, and also bug fixing simply and other improvements. So yeah, basically just start. But so I started when I started with Elastic Drums, I was still working not full time, I would say, but more than half time. And so I was developing like during the night or on the weekend because it takes its time, and I had no money on the bank account. So when you're successful in the iTunes store, then it's really a great. Then you're really a lucky guy. I was kind of a lucky guy, but it's not guaranteed. So also have a look like that you can exist when it's not a lucky.
Yeah, that's really great advice. If people watching, you can start getting into it in nights and weekends, slowly but surely. And development, it's not a process where you're going to make an app in 2 weeks if it's your first one. It may take, 6 months or a year. Not every app is going to be a hit. Most apps don't succeed at first, but you got to keep trying. And you hear from all these developers, like maybe their 6th or 7th app is the one that finally hits, and all of a sudden, everything changes for them. And you only see that success. You don't see those 4 or 5, apps or those late nights with no money in the bank accounts. You just got to keep going and keep the struggle alive.
That's right. Yes. I know some people. A friend of mine, he's doing a game company, and like in the game business, it's really that they just make like 30 apps, and to make one app like the golden thing. But that's not what I would like to do with music apps, because there's too much heart in there from me. So yeah. So one other good advice is also like give the app to other people. So is it really self-explanatory? How's how do they like the GUI and the user experience? So you can really learn a lot from that. So I was always when my app was not out, I was already spreading some videos, and I had a lot of beta testers, and I was asking for feedback, and of course very often you don't want to hear certain feedback, but very often it's really super helpful, and other people see what you don't see, and you can improve things.
Yeah, that's really good advice as well. You got lots of good advice for people. So if someone were to give you $100 million and take over your responsibilities updating Elastic Drums and Elastic Effects, what would you do with your time?
Okay. One option would be to go on an island, but the other option, maybe it gets boring after a while. I would, like everybody, I would like to do something like a hardware version of something like Elastic Drums, or I guess that's what I would like to do. But
maybe you can start a Kickstarter for that to make a hardware version of Elastic Drums.
Maybe. I was already thinking of doing a Kickstarter for the BST version. I also like the idea of Kickstarter.
I think you should. That'll be a fun experiment to watch, and I'm sure it'll be successful for you. And do you have any final thoughts you want to leave the audience with, or anything else you want to tell people?
Watch my channels. No. I want to ask you one thing. How does yes?
Oh.
How does AudioKit? How do you manage to make this awesome platform working? Because there are so many people involved. So, and it's for free. How does it work?
Well, like a lot of open source projects like libpd, which I think even like Peter Kern was a contributor to.
Yeah.
People just help out where they can. That's kind of the beauty of open source. No one's obligated to finish some stuff, but if someone has some free time between down projects or they want to give back to the community, it's an excellent way. And I think because it's so organized and so active, it draws in a lot of talent. And we try to foster an environment that's really friendly to contributors, so anyone could join. And we've had so many people comment and say, I try to contribute to X project or Y project, and people were just kind of standoffish or cynical.
Okay.
But no matter what your skill level, we encourage people to contribute code. And I think that's why AudioKit has grown so much. And a lot of times people are like, oh, how could this be free? It's so awesome. But AudioKit has been going on for 5 years now, started by Ari, and every single day of the year he makes a commit, even Christmas, and he does this for no money. So, his motivation and drive inspire us all. And I've been a core team member for 4 years now.
Okay.
I met him 4 years ago, and he wrangled me in.
So is it a company or is it just a collection of people?
It's just a collection of people.
Okay.
Doing good.
Oh, awesome.
There's no sponsors, there's no investors, there's no one that we have to answer to. Just, making the world a better place through code and music. Because music programming is the new punk rock.
Okay.
Yeah, so anyone watching, if you want to get involved, you can contribute code. A lot of the people I've interviewed are now like adding code and C++ and Swift and Objective-C. It's just great to see what people build with AudioKit. And, it's a great learning tool. People who thought I would never be able to make a music app, now they can make a music app.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
Yeah, it's a good first step, and hopefully it's going to become more powerful along the way. So
I like the sharing idea. So if I can give something back to the community, I'm always open to it.
Wow, that's a really great attitude, and this was an awesome interview with Oliver. I'd encourage you to support independent developers like Oliver and check out his apps, Elastic Drums and Elastic Effects.
This has been Matthew Fecher. Thanks for watching.
AudioKit is a free and open source project. You can learn more at audiokitpro.com.
Let's go way back. Let's go way back.